2020 is the year that Holiday World unleashed a new predator at Splashin Safari. Cheetah Chase would join Mammoth and Wildebeest as the third water roller coaster in this world-renowned water park. Unlike the others, this Dueling water coaster would provide many of the world's firsts, including the world's first launching water coaster and having the first head-to-head zone. I was able to get a chance to take a splash on this record-breaking ride earlier this year, and today I'm here to give you my full in-depth review of the ride experience. Would the intensity and the speed on Cheetah Chase live up to its name, or would the journey be as tame as a house cat? Find out next. Hey everyone, this is Hale from Destination Thrills, and today we are not reviewing a traditional roller coaster. No, today we are doing my first ever review on a water coaster, Cheetah Chase at Holiday World and Splashin Safari in Santa Claus, Indiana. Now first, let me just say that I love water parks. I've always been someone who loves to be around water, whether it's at a lake, beach, or a swimming pool. So let's just say that when I rode my first water coaster, Wildebeest, I was hooked. To get so much thrill and splashed with water at the same time is just my kind of experience. So when I heard that Holiday World was adding another water coaster to their already incredible lineup, I was pumped. Plus there was that added intrigue when it was announced that Cheetah Chase would be a dueling water coaster. But my question was, would this coaster live up to the hype and take the crown for best water coaster in the park? Well, let's find out by getting into my review of Holiday World's newest water coaster. Walking into the water park, I had that buildup of anticipation, curious to see what the experience of Cheetah Chase would be like. It especially grew when I was walking in the Splashin Safari and saw the bright orange and yellow track. Now, when I saw it in person, the coaster itself seemed a bit smaller in size than what I was expecting. I don't know why I was picturing the ride to be super tall and massive like Mammoth, but I would say it appears smaller in scale to both water coasters in the park. I do like the giant entrance sign out front, and the queue line going over the final splashdown gives you some really cool looks as you're waiting to get on the ride. The station is pretty standard to the other water coasters and major slides. No fancy theming, it's just that basic entrance that's very open. I will say that the slide itself is actually very eye-catching. I'm not one that's picky on color, so someone might disagree and say it's ugly, but I really enjoyed the bright orange and yellow track. Now, before I get into the ride experience, I just want to say I was a little distracted on my first ride because it was my nephew's first water coaster. So I was paying more attention to his reactions than the actual ride itself. And let's just say he got a little scared during the experience, and well, here's his quick review of it. Tell us about Cheetah Chase. Let's say you're talking to Reese and Andy right now, and they were like, should we ride Cheetah Chase? What would you tell them?
I'd tell them, guys, I don't want to tell you this, but I've been on it once and it's horrible. And I had a wrecking ball friend that broke the slides.
Oh, wow. Now, I completely disagree with his opinion on this, but as you can see from the perspective of someone who is still afraid of big thrills, it's not going to be your favorite experience, and that is because this layout is pretty wild. Cheetah Chase starts you off slowly by creeping your way to the launch area. As you're making your way to the first little drop into the launch area, you get a chance to kind of trash talk your opponents that you'll be racing. Now, when you finally slide into that mini drop and hit that launch, you absolutely take off. Now, of course, this isn't a roller coaster launch, but you will definitely feel the acceleration kick in, and before you know it, you are flying up the first hill. And man, when you crest that first hill and dip into the tunnel, you immediately get pummeled by this huge wave from behind. Next, you quickly speed into the saucer turn, and I will say the feeling of speed is amazing on Cheetah Chase. Now, after the saucer turn, you catapult up another hill, and you'll notice as you're going up, you're just getting hit with water, and then you reach the top, and again, you get hit with another big wave from behind. I don't know why this happens, but it absolutely drenches you. It's just so fun. I actually love that part of the ride, and it almost gets you so drenched that it's almost hard to see. If I didn't have my sunglasses on, I probably would have been wiping my eyes the entire time. After this, you go into the head-to-head zone, and you're just getting hit with so much water that it's kind of hard to see the raft that you're challenging. But at this point, I didn't really care. I was so wrapped up into my own ride experience. Now, after this part, you race into these turns, and these are rapid fire. Honestly, I had no clue what was happening because I was getting a steady dose of water, and you're just going through everything so fast. Finally, you hit the last rally section, and it's just a series of dips. You don't get that much floater airtime, or at least I didn't experience much floater airtime like you do on Wildebeest and Mammoth. but man, each time you drop into the water, you get rocked with more waves. And just like that, you have hit the finale of the ride with not a spot on you that is dry. So now that we've examined the layout, let's get into my ratings of the ride. And because we're reviewing a water coaster, I'm going to exchange the comfort category for a special splash factor category to measure how wet this ride gets you. So for the 5 categories in this review, it will be intensity, fun, uniqueness, splash factor, and duration, using a 0 to 5 scale, with 0 being horrible and 5 being perfect. I will then give the ride my overall rating on the same 0 to 5 scale. So let's get into these ratings by starting with intensity. Cheetah Chase has 2 components that are intense. First, the pacing. The pacing is absolutely wild. If I had to compare it to something in the roller coaster world, I would say it has the pacing of a GCI wooden coaster. The moment you're thrown into the launch, the action is non-stop. There are very few moments that you get to catch your breath as you're racing through each section, and it's also hard for you to keep your mind on what is happening. So much so that in order for me to break down the layout, I had to watch the POV again to remind me how it went. The second factor that makes Cheetah Chase intense is the amount of water that you get hit with. The second you recover from one wave, you're getting smashed with another. Now, even with these 2 intensity factors, the ride doesn't have a height factor or a giant steep drop. So I'm not gonna say this is some terrifying, insane water coaster, but definitely enough of a thrill to scare my little nephew. So for that, I'm gonna give intensity a 2.5 out of 5. Let's move on to fun. Whether you think Cheetah Chase is fun is gonna depend on what you're into. If you absolutely hate water and getting splashed constantly by waves, then this experience will be the farthest from fun. But if you like an aggressive water slide that gives you some good speed and splashes you with a lot of water, like me, then Cheetah Chase will leave you wanting to get in line for more. I absolutely enjoyed the entire layout and was laughing the entire time. I would also say the racing factor mixes in some competition into the journey as well, so it's just an all-around entertaining ride for me. So I'm gonna give Cheetah Chase a 4.5 out of 5 for fun. Now let's talk about uniqueness. Cheetah Chase is very different from its other 2 water coaster siblings in Splashin Safari. Wildebeest focuses on catching that major airtime, whereas Mammoth focuses on the long, ever-changing ride experience in the circular rafts. Cheetah Chase is all about the waves and the rapid pacing. It's nice to see a ride that brings a different element than the rest of the collection. Now, on the flip side, I would argue that Cheetah Chase looks very similar to other water coasters like Breaker's Edge at Hershey's Park, with the saucer turns and the tunnels and the fast transitions, so I could see some similarities there. With that said, you don't see very many dueling water coasters, and you gotta remember there's definitely some first of its kind on the ride as well, so I think it's fair to give Cheetah Chase a 3 out of 5 for uniqueness. Moving on to splash factor, this ride hits you with water the entire time. Certainly the most wet I have ever gotten on any water coaster or any raft water slide for that matter. You get so wet that you can barely see because you are constantly having to remove water from your eyes, so it's obvious that Cheetah Chase is going to get the max score of 5 out of 5 in this category. Alrighty, let's discuss duration. This might be the one knock that I have on Cheetah Chase. I'm not sure if it's the quick pacing or the fact that there is really only a handful of elements, but the ride does seem kind of short, especially when compared to Mammoth and Wildebeest. Now, there is definitely enough of the layout to be entertaining, so I wouldn't say it's a huge detractor, but I don't know, I would have liked to see a little bit of a longer experience. With that said, I'm gonna give duration a 2.5 out of 5. Now, of course, you have to remember that Cheetah Chase is basically 2 water coasters into one, so that probably played a factor in why the layout is shorter, so I don't mind the trade-off of having a shorter length for the dueling concept. Okay, now it's time to give Cheetah Chase an overall score. I really enjoyed this water coaster. I love the speed and the beginning launch. I love the racing aspect and how the concept is different as a whole from the other water attractions in Splashin Safari. But what I enjoyed the most about Cheetah Chase was how drenched you get during the ride. I don't think it is perfect by any means, but it certainly brings a lot of joy and laughter from its guests, unless you're my nephew. So I think Cheetah Chase deserves a score of 3.5 out of 5 overall. Now, it's time to answer the question, is Cheetah Chase the best water coaster in the park? No. This is a big reason why I gave it a 3.5 score, is that while the ride is entertaining, it doesn't live up to the experiences on Mammoth and Wildebeest. Wildebeest, in my opinion, is the airtime king of water coasters, and Mammoth is just one of the most fun interactive water attractions in the world. So I don't think it's fair to say that Cheetah Chase is quite on that level, but in all honesty, I don't think it has to. In fact, I would say that Cheetah Chase is a good starter water coaster for new enthusiasts. You don't have that strong weightless sensation or the steep drops like you do on the other two water coasters. That is a big reason why we took my nephew on Cheetah Chase first, to see if he can handle this one. Once he is no longer afraid of riding Cheetah Chase, then we will move him up to the big boys. And that's kind of what I mean. I think Mammoth and Wildebeest are so good that it would have been hard for Cheetah Chase to live up to that reputation, and so I don't think it's better than them, but again, that would have been a hard feat in the first place. I do think it is a perfect fit for their lineup and further cementing Splashin Safari as one of the greatest water parks of all time. Before I end this review, I do want to give a few tips for those who want to ride Cheetah Chase. Number one, if you have goggles, bring them. You definitely want to find a way to keep the water out of your eyes if you want to see what's going on. I was lucky enough to have my sunglasses with me, so that helped out a bit. Number two, as I mentioned, use Cheetah Chase as a starter water coaster for someone who has never experienced water coasters before. If they can handle Cheetah Chase, then I would move them up to Wildebeest and Mammoth, but have them start on Cheetah Chase first. 3. This ride already gets you wet, but if you're looking to get in the best seat or get the most wet, I suggest sitting in the very back. Not only is the airtime better in the back, but you also get hit with that wave from behind really hard. So again, if you want to get soaked and have the best experience possible, I would sit in the back of Cheetah Chase. So this was my in-depth review of Cheetah Chase at Holiday World and Splashin Safari, but now I want to hear from you. If you have ridden Cheetah Chase, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and if you haven't, let me know what you think of the ride and what your expectations are going into it. Now, if you really enjoyed this review, I actually have plenty more on my channel. I will link the playlist in the description below, as well as my recent review of the new for 2020 Mystic River Falls at Silver Dollar City in the card above. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Destination Thrills, as we're the destination for all the latest theme park news, reviews, and content. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'm Cullah Hale. Stay safe and have a good one.